Despite all the fears of the market last week, with fears of stagflation coming back with lower than expected GDP growth and higher than expected inflation, the market still did very well last week, up 2.7%, despite fears of stagflation. This shows that the earnings growth from companies, especially for tech, and the demand for AI is really helping the markets. The productivity gains and company spend for AI products is helping big tech companies. So that helped the markets last week. This week we have economic data from the jobs report on Friday. We have the Fed meeting on Wednesday. We have Eurozone GDP and inflation and Chinese purchasing managers index numbers. So there's a lot of economic data this week. The biggest risk, I think, is that the Fed is hawkish. I think we're in a buy the dip regime, as Tom Lee from Fundstrat says, unless the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell's more hawkish than expected on Wednesday's meeting. So we have to see how that goes. But I also wanted to touch on two important news stories. Tesla, Elon Musk had a surprise visit with Beijing over the weekend, and there's a tentative agreement for Tesla to license its full self-driving software in China. That would be huge. China would be the second biggest market for Tesla. And this comes to what I said a little over a week ago, that Tesla's main growth engine, besides its charging stations, because other EV companies use their charging stations, is Tesla licensing the full self-driving software to other automakers. And if Tesla is allowed to use FSD in China, could perhaps license their FSD to other Chinese auto manufacturers. That'd be huge. But just that tentative agreement and Musk meeting in Beijing over the weekend is huge. Only two companies could really navigate the China situation. It's really Tesla and Elon Musk, and Apple and Cupertino with Tim Cook, according to Dan Ives. And it's good that Elon Musk had this meeting. Let's see how it goes. Obviously, Tesla's other growth story would be licensing their FSD software, of course, to auto manufacturers in the U.S. They were also talking about doing it in India. Let's see if that eventually happens. And then Tesla also was talking about humanoid robots, perhaps sometime next year, although in reality that'll probably be a few years from that. Elon Musk is usually very ambitious with his forecast, but they are working on it. They have a prototype, and there are a lot of startup humanoid robotics companies working on stuff like that. Even NVIDIA has a division that's working on humanoid robotics. NVIDIA also has a division that's working on some full self-driving. So Tesla's biggest competition could perhaps eventually be NVIDIA. I think they're the two biggest tech stories in my opinion. And then on 60 Minutes last night, Jensen Huang, the founder of NVIDIA, had an interview on 60 Minutes talking about the growth of NVIDIA starting from 1993 in a Denny's. The idea came from a Denny's. It started with making better graphics for video games, and then with that capability of NVIDIA's GPU chips going on to power artificial intelligence, because those powerful chips had good capabilities with artificial intelligence. And Jensen Huang was saying the artificial intelligence in those chips could have benefits ranging from obviously good data, but also could be good for drug discovery, material science, and discovering new molecules and proteins. It'll be good for medicine. And he was even saying that there's a lot of fear that AI could replace jobs. And although it's possible, and it might in the short term, in the long run, usually productivity gains, and I call this the fourth industrial revolution, but you can see from the other industrial revolutions, there has been more of a net gain of new jobs than lost jobs. It might take a while for that to happen and new industries could emerge, but I also don't think AI would fully take away the need for humans working. And also, Jensen Huang made a good point that usually when AI should lead to stronger productivity gains and better earnings, and there's never been a situation in history where a company with better earnings hasn't hired more people, and he thinks that AI can't replace fully humans, because humans there's certain nuanced situations that a machine will never be able to replicate. And you need still humans as decision makers to override some of the machine's capabilities and help guide the machines in AI. So he doesn't think that AI will fully replace humans either. And I think that's an optimistic account for AI. So, yeah, Jensen Huang had a pretty good interview with CNBC. I mean, not CNBC, I'm sorry, 60 Minutes. And it really goes to show you why NVIDIA is a $2 trillion company with all the growth and demand that companies are spending on NVIDIA's AI hardware solutions, their GPU chips. And this is the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution, 1995 or 1996 moment. And I think there's a lot of legs in this AI story. And I still think that the tailwinds for AI will outweigh the headwinds from CPI inflation and those stagflationary fears. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I was pretty optimistic to see the news stories from both Tesla and NVIDIA this weekend.